What's up everyone, and welcome to a special What If video. I want to start off with a big thank you to everyone for getting me to 50,000 subscribers. That's just a crazy number, and I didn't even expect to get here this quickly. So thank you all for helping me get here, and I'm glad that you enjoy the channel. And for 50k, it only makes sense that I try doing something special. A lot of you asked that I should do some My Hero Academia videos, and some people asked to see some crossover what-ifs with Dragon Ball. So for one of my 50k specials, I had an idea. So My Hero Academia is all about teenagers that go to high school and try and become heroes. And you know who else did that? Gohan. So naturally, and as you can tell by the title of this video, I want to see how well he'd fit in at Yuuei. And for this video, let's see if we can hit 2,500 likes as the like goal. Once we hit or surpass that, I'll know you guys want to see another part, and I'll keep continuing it. Now let's get something out of the way here first. You could probably see in the art of this video that this doesn't look like Gohan and Goku. By the way, this art is by me, so I hope you guys like it. Anyways, you might be able to notice that they're kinda in the style of My Hero Academia, with different outfits, instead of looking like their Dragon Ball counterparts. That's for a good reason. This isn't really gonna be about Gohan and My Hero Academia, or at least the Gohan that we know. It's more so gonna be a character that's heavily inspired by Gohan, except there's gonna be a few differences. The reason for that is, well, if you put a Dragon Ball character in My Hero Academia, they would just be way too overpowered and there'd be no peril or threat. I recommend checking out my video where I scale All Might to Dragon Ball, because that gives a really good comparison of how strong Dragon Ball characters are to My Hero Academia. They wouldn't really fit well in here because they'd pretty much one-shot any threat. Not to mention, introducing key users to My Hero Academia or introducing Quirks to the Dragon Ball universe would completely change both of the stories. It wouldn't even be recognizable at that point. But I have a good solution here, so let's start with covering everything. Since people inherit their quirks from their parents, let's take a look at what Gohan got for his quirks and who he got them from. So yes, Goku and Chi-Chi are in the story as well, and obviously they're where Gohan got his quirks from. We'll start by covering Goku. Goku is a high-ranking hero here with an amazing quirk. Up there with the likes of All Might and Endeavor, let's say he's the number 3 hero. His hero name is Uzaru, named as a reference to his quirk. You were probably expecting his quirk to be something like Super Saiyan, but that would be too easy and it's a little bit overpowered if I were to do that. I themed Goku more around Kid Goku rather than Dragon Ball Z Goku. His first quirk is what I'll call Grade 8 power. Every time Goku fights, and after every injury, he gets stronger more easily. Whenever he heals from taking damage, he also grows a little bit stronger each time, meaning he has superhuman strength and speed right now, but nothing too crazy. But he's the number 3 hero for a good reason. Oh, and he has a tail because of this quirk. However, as with most quirks, there's going to be a drawback here. We know what happens with Goku and his tail. Under a full moon and some other phases that are close to a full moon, Goku will get enough energy that he'll be able to transform into a Grade 8, which is an uncontrollable transformation that he has that gets him to destroy everything basically. Yeah, it's powerful, but he has no self-control of it, and in a city setting, it's not really going to be useful to fight crime. But why is Goku only number 3? Well, it's because of the downside to his quirk where he transforms at night uncontrollably. There would be a lot of collateral damage, so during certain nights and certain settings, he wouldn't be that good for a fight, as he may lose control and destroy everything. Another downside is that while his physical strength is immense, it takes constant training or life-threatening injuries to actually power him up. But he still has a high ranking, and he's immensely powerful and is a master martial artist. His second quirk is also a Dragon Ball reference, and I'll call it Extend with an exclamation point. It seems relatively useless at first, but it could be used in creative ways. This quirk allows him to elongate any wooden objects he holds, like a staff for example, which he carries around. And with his martial arts abilities, he's also practiced using this staff to fight, and he can increase its length at will and use it however he wants in a fight. This is obviously a reference to the power pole, and I feel it's a pretty unique quirk. On the other hand, we have Chi-Chi, who was a former hero but she doesn't fight anymore, under her name Ox Princess. We haven't really seen Chi-Chi use Ki Blast and the sorts in Dragon Ball, but in order to make the story work, I'm going to take a few liberties and base it off something that we saw when she was a kid. Her quirk is what I'll refer to as bioelectricity, the ability to focus life energy, or ki, into one point and fire it. This is done by drawing energy from the calories that people consume during the day. So it's kinda good exercise as well. When she was a hero, Chi-Chi would often wear a helmet to charge this, since it would help her focus her energy. The downside to this quirk is the caloric intake that it requires, and using it too much would cause fatigue, kinda like how ki normally works. It uses up calories that the user consumes daily, and they need to consume more than normal to actually keep up with it. And it can be used without an object to focus the energy, but using it without a way to focus it is risky and it's not as accurate. This will cause the user to feel recoil from their attacks, and it will injure them kinda. Whatever energy they expel also recoils a bit of that power towards them, and it does give them a little pain. Like I mentioned, Chi-Chi was a former pro hero, but now she's more so a regular civilian. She does, however, work with Goku's hero agency, even if she herself isn't fighting as a hero full time. So you'll probably see that come into play later. Also, I'm going to leave a poll here. Since I'm basically introducing the whole Sun family, I want to know if you guys think other characters would be here, you know, like Bardock, Gine, Raditz, Goten, or Ox King. They wouldn't be important and I wouldn't really cover them too much, besides maybe a brief backstory video, but vote on the poll and let me know if you guys would like to see them here. But besides the Sun family, we're not going to add anyone else, at least for now. Maybe in the future I might have a certain prince show up, but we'll save that for another time if that happens. Anyways, Son Gohan, just like in Dragon Ball, is a smart kid who's about to go to high school. He's not only inherited quirks from his parents, but these quirks actually work together pretty greatly. He takes 8 power from his father and bioelectricity from his mother, which creates a pretty unique combo of powers. He's in search for a high school to go to, and Gohan obviously would come across Yuuei, and he signs up to attend it. Not only are his grades great, but he does have a great reference because his father is the 3rd top hero. So needless to say, he gets into the entrance exam. Arriving at Yuuei, he has a good first impression, and he thinks he'll enjoy this school. Before the exam itself, he actually sees some pretty interesting people attending here. One is a boy with green hair that seems a little bit weak, as if he has no quirk at all. It also looks like he isn't the only one related to a pro hero. It looks like the son of Endeavor is here, as well as the brother of Ingenium. There's some pretty fierce competition. Gohan being Gohan, he has no problem with the written exam, but the practical exam is obviously more important. Gohan is able to talk to some of the students and he actually gets a couple of looks, mainly because of his tail. I mean, it's not because he has a tail, because a lot of other kids have it. It's the fact that it's a monkey tail. It looks just like the one that the pro hero Uzaru has, so people are keen to pick up on it and they think that he's probably Uzaru's son. The competition's pretty stacked. You have people with a lot of crazy quirks and then some people related to pro heroes even, with 2 of them being related to the top 2 and top 3 heroes. Little does everyone know there's also Deku, who has the same powers as All Might, the number 1 hero. The exam begins and it goes pretty much normal for everyone. Gohan is able to do pretty well for himself. His physical strength and speed are amazing, so he outperforms most of the competition. He can't fly like in Dragon Ball, but he's still extremely fast and he can jump pretty high to make up for it. He's able to easily defeat a lot of the robots, with a combination of physical moves and an occasional ki blast, as using ki blast too much would tire him out or injure him. However, being injured by his ki blast works in his favor, as it works with his other quirk to make him stronger over time. His power, combined with his ability, allow him to succeed greatly here. He's able to become one of the highest scoring students on the practical exams due to how well his powers are suited during this exercise, mainly due to him defeating robots because he doesn't really get any points for saving others. He would have tried to help others, but it would seem like everyone was pretty fine on their own. Gohan's able to get into the school easily. He's related to a top hero, he aced both the written and the practical exams, so he has a really good application. Time passes and the school year begins as Gohan finally goes to Yuuei. Since he's still shy and kinda awkward like he is in Dragon Ball Z, he'd be sort of the same here. He would eventually get to talk to some people in his class, which is 1A. That means we're gonna have to kick out someone from the class and put them in another one. I feel like the one to be removed would be Hagakure because her quirk isn't really as useful as some of the others, and while someone like Mineta probably would be in the same position, Mineta actually seems like one of the smarter kids in the class, even if his quirk was rated around the same level. So she gets removed and Mineta gets to stay in, lucky him, with Gohan taking that free spot. Gohan begins socializing and actually does get to make some friends. Tenya, Ida, and Deku would get along pretty well with him. Ida's a star student and he'd have some respect for Gohan, while Gohan and Deku's personalities pretty much match up. Bakugo would of course be there and he'd be angered by this schmuck getting in so easily. Seeing Gohan associating with Deku, he groups them both together as people that cheated, but then he sees Gohan's tail and then he assumes he only got in because he's related to Uzaru, and didn't actually get picked for being a good candidate. Everyone's pretty interested to hear this discussion, because a few of them didn't notice before that he's related to a pro hero. Aizawa then enters the class, leading everyone into the activities to see how powerful their quirks are. The softball throw isn't really too hard for him because his natural power allows him to throw it pretty far. And while he's probably not as fast as Ida, Gohan does have some pretty great speed. The 50-meter dash isn't too hard either, nor are the latter 3 events. Gohan being here wouldn't really affect the performance of any of the others. He's mainly curious about Midoriya, because it seems like he doesn't really have a quirk to show off, or he can't really use it that well. The throwing event gets him even more interested in Midoriya because of how he uses his power. He seemed pretty friendly when interacting with Gohan before, and Gohan kinda wants to give him the benefit of the doubt, assuming that he's here for a good reason. He's not really that judgmental anyways, it's just something that he would notice. After Deku gets his finger healed, he makes a few new friends. He meets up with Ida and Uraraka after class, as well as Gohan. Like I said before, this group would definitely get along pretty well. Gohan's personality pretty much lines up with them, and he's a pretty friendly guy even if he is a little shy. And Deku's pretty much in the same situation. He even begins calling Midoriya Deku because they come up with the name and think that is a good hero name, rather than the insult that Bakugo was using. More time passes and next, they get introduced to the battle training. And with battle training, that means everyone's gonna get their costumes. And for Gohan's costume here, I have a pretty obvious inspiration for the one that I gave him. While not exactly the same, it's pretty much inspired by his Saiyan outfit. It has some minor tweaks, but overall it's very similar. With the battle training, since Gohan takes Hagakure's position, he's on Team I with Ojiro. Pretty funny pairing too because they both have tails, but that's pure coincidence. The first few rounds of battle training go pretty normally, but being on Team I means that he's actually up against Todoroki, and while Todoroki is a huge threat, Gohan is also pretty powerful, and he can put his bioelectricity quirk to use just like Todoroki's using his ice quirk. Todoroki and Gohan are in pretty different leagues compared to everyone else, so it's basically a battle between them instead of teams. And Gohan is able to hold him off for long enough for their team to win, and this is one of the first changes we see here. While the battle itself never really ended, Todoroki realizes that he may not actually be the strongest here, there is some challenge. He could have used his fire side, but he didn't want to. But this Gohan guy was actually experienced and strong enough to counter the ice quirk with his own bioelectricity and his natural strength. His speed, power, reflexes, all that are amazing. He's a little ticked off about it, but he's somewhat impressed. Everyone else is watching the fight too, and they're also pretty intrigued to see this, especially Bakugo, who realizes that he's not the strongest here. His quirk is great, but these two are ahead because they're related to pro heroes. It actually gets him kind of bummed. Everyone then meets up after the battle, cheering on Deku, which also includes Gohan cheering him on as well. He's glad to see that Deku's armor is relatively okay. All the other classmates are also amazed with Gohan's power, and they're interested with the way he fights. Todoroki was taking it very seriously while Gohan was going about it very lightheartedly, albeit a little bit cocky. He's somewhat shy for all the attention, but he's grateful for it. He's glad that he's fitting in well here and everyone's taking a liking to him so far. Well, except Bakugo, who seems to have a problem with almost everyone, and Todoroki, who seems a little bit cold, no pun intended. Now with everyone fully integrated into the school and introduced, I feel this is a good place to leave off. So what do you guys think about this scenario so far, and what do you think will happen next? Also, let me know what you voted for on the poll and why. Leave your thoughts and suggestions in the comments below and I'll be sure to check those out too. Anyways, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like. In celebration of 50k, let's see if we can hit 2,500 likes as the like goal. I feel like it's definitely doable, even if it's a bit of a stretch. And if you haven't already, why not subscribe to the channel, as well as hitting the bell icon to get notified about future parts of this What If or any of the videos that I upload to my channel. Thank you all for watching, thank you a lot for getting me to 50k subs, and I'll see you all on my next video.